Oké, dus ik wil jullie uitnodigen om de ogen te sluiten. De voeten stevig op de grond te zetten. En aan te komen in ons lichaam. De rug recht. De schouders en nek ontspannen. De handen misschien in je schoot of op je buik, hoe het prettig is. En als je op een stoel zit, voel het contact van je lichaam met de stoel. Voel het contact van je voeten met de grond. Kom aan in je lichaam, hier, nu. Hoe voel je je op dit moment? Moe, vol energie, druk, vol gedachten. Vraag je lichaam, hoe voel je je? En maak dan contact met je adem. Voel je hoe je adem je lichaam binnenkomt. Misschien bij je neus. En voel je de adem bewegen in je borst of in je buik. Als je wil kun je je handen op je buik leggen om de beweging te voelen. Voel de inademing en voel de uitademing. Zonder te proberen die te veranderen. Hij is zoals die is. En dat is goed. Ik adem in en ik adem uit. En omdat ik adem, weet ik dat ik leef, nu en hier. Ik adem in en ik weet dat ik leef. Ik adem uit en ik glimlach. Ik adem in en uit en bezoek mijn lichaam. Met mijn liefdevolle aandacht ga ik naar mijn voeten. Ik voel hoe ze op de grond staan. Ik voel of ze warm zijn of koud. Ik voel dan ook mijn benen. Mijn onderbenen, bovenbenen, mijn knieën. Ik voel het contact met mijn stoel en ik voel ze ook van binnen. Ik voel mijn billen, mijn rug en mijn buik. Mijn schouders, armen, bovenarm, onderarm, handen, mijn hoofd, mijn gezicht. Ik sta mijn lichaam toe zich te ontspannen. Mijn kaken, het gebied rond mijn ogen. Ik adem in en ik ben me bewust van mijn lichaam. En ik adem uit en glimlach naar mijn lichaam met liefdevolle vriendelijkheid. Soms voel ik me vol energie, soms ben ik moe, soms ben ik blij, soms voel ik me vol en soms heb ik ruimte. De zaden van al die staten van bewustzijn zijn in mij aanwezig. En nu wil ik in contact komen met de zaden van frisheid, stevigheid, ruimte en vrede die ik in me heb. En ik gebruik daarvoor de beelden uit de natuur. Ik stel me een bloem voor in een frisse, vroege ochtend, vol dauwdruppels. De zon komt op en langzaam opent de bloem zich. Ik adem in en ik zie mezelf als een bloem. Ik adem uit en ik voel me fris. En nu denk ik aan een berg, misschien in de Alpen, de Pyreneeën of de Himalaya. Een stevige berg. Soms regent het, sneeuwt het, soms schijnt de zon, soms zijn er stormen, maar de berg blijft stevig, onverwoestbaar. Een toevlucht voor talloze planten en dieren. Ik adem in en ik zie mezelf als een berg. Ik adem uit en ik voel me stevig. En nu denk ik aan een bergmeertje. Het water is stil en weerspiegelt de bergen en de wolken. Kalm en vredig. Het probeert de bergen en de wolken niet te veranderen, maar weerspiegelt ze precies zoals ze zijn. Ik adem in en zie mezelf als een bergmeertje. Ik adem uit en weerspiegel alles zoals het is. Ik stel me de immense ruimte voor, zonder begin en zonder einde, vrij van alle obstakels. Ik adem in en zie mijzelf als ruimte. Ik adem uit en ik voel me vrij.
Thank you so much, Sister Shangyu. Now the headphones can switch. So if you don't understand English, you can put the headphones in. It's wonderful to contemplate the wonders of the natural world while also hearing the vibrations of the city. We are very happy to be able to bring the practice into an urban environment. And so we're so happy that we can organize today's session as an experiment in bringing some energy of peace and calm into a more busy environment. So we feel this afternoon the collective energy, how possible and pleasant it is to breathe with each other. And that makes it so much easier to create a little island of calm here on the edge of the river, on the edge of a busy city. So this is a wonderful way to practice, and I think our teacher would be so happy to know that we continue his path of bringing the Dharma and the practice of meditation out of the meditation hall and into different environments. So thank you for being here and participating in this experiment together. And we can enjoy the rumbling. We can enjoy knowing that there is a lot of life and a lot of richness here in the city. We had a chance to enjoy walking around Amsterdam yesterday, and we met one of you. Or rather, you met us. I don't know if you are here somewhere. The lady, yes, hello. Oh, two of you, wonderful. We met actually 3 people who stopped us on our way. And it was wonderful. And so I had a chance to ask someone who had never met us before, what would you like to hear about tomorrow? And thank you for the deep and real answer. And deep and real question, which was, how can it be possible to be calm in such a frenetic world, such a overwhelmingly busy world, where there is also so much polarization, polarity? So we had a chance to continue our walking meditation through the city and contemplate this question. The title of our practice together this afternoon, the theme is being peace. And Thai would always say that there is an art to being peace. And for some of us, peace is definitely something we feel very comfortable with. Yes, we would like that. We would like more of that. To be peace. But some of us, may be a bit like me, we're a little bit resistant to being peaceful. We may feel that we don't have the right to be peaceful in such a difficult moment. A difficult moment for our planet and a difficult moment for society. We want to shake everyone around us and say, wake up, do something, please be more outraged. And the idea of peace can be very confronting. It doesn't seem the right moment for peace. Maybe when all is going well, that is when we can cultivate peace. But right now we need to struggle. We need to change the situation. And this is an important resistance to have. This is good. So for those of you who are like this in this hall, thank you for being here, despite the fact that it's called a Being Peace practice session. Thank you for coming anyway to wake up together. And the other part of the challenge about being peaceful is if we're truly aware of the problems in our world right now, surely the only natural response is to feel overwhelmed. That has to be the natural way to respond to the tragedy of war and violence in the Ukraine, to the tragedy of what is happening to our planet. It is natural to feel overwhelmed. It is human to feel pain. And I want to say this because we see this, we recognize this, we acknowledge this. And it's very important to know that mindfulness practice is not somehow a comfort, an opiate, like a kind of opium, so that we just feel a little bit better, so we continue in this terrible system. Mindfulness is so much more than that. And in the tradition of our teacher and our community, the kind of mindfulness practice that we want to share with you is a mindfulness practice that can help us handle our strong emotions, our very human reactions to the suffering that we witness around us, and to be able to handle those feelings in our body, in our mind, so that we are not powerless, so that we can be calm, clear, brave, to be able to see what to do and what not to do to help the situation. We don't just speak about mindfulness for the sake of being mindful. For us, through mindfulness, we want to generate a strong energy of awareness, and through that, we want to get an insight, a kind of awakening that will help us change the way we relate to ourselves, change our way of living, and change our collective consciousness. So our mindfulness is a little bit more radical than I think most of the corporate mindfulness programs. We want nothing less than a revolution. So our mindfulness is helping us handle what is difficult. And what is very, very important is our mindfulness is also helping us take care of our balance and our well-being. So these two things, most of us at school, we're not taught. We're not taught how to generate moments of happiness or peace for ourselves or others around us. It's an art, it's something to be learned. And at school, mostly we don't learn how to handle feelings of anger, feelings of despair, of anxiety and restlessness. And what is incredible in the 2,500 years of Buddhist meditation, these are learnable skills. To cultivate the mind, to handle the body, these are things that all of us can learn how to do. And that frees us to have the kind of insight and change and energy available to really be able to make change happen in the world. It has been quite poignant, quite moving to be here yesterday for Remembrance Day and also today for Liberation Day. When we think about the war in Ukraine, many of us, we maybe want to shout at our screens or shout at our politicians. There's a real energy of frustration and resistance. And maybe that only came up in the last 2 or 3 months. When we look deeply into any war, we know that wars take a long time to happen. The roots of the war that we are seeing now in the east of Europe have been coming together, maybe silently, maybe not so silently, but for sure we didn't see it. We weren't paying attention. And the roots of war have been coming for many, many months, many years, maybe even many decades, maybe even many generations. And with the eyes of meditation and deep mindfulness, we recognize this. We see that things have come to be because of causes and conditions. There are many reasons. And in our spiritual practice, we really want to identify those reasons. When our teacher was a peace activist in the 1970s and 80s, he became a little bit also frustrated, naturally frustrated at the protest movement and at human nature. And he said something very powerful. He said, that was at the time of the campaign for nuclear disarmament. And he said,
We can send all the bombs to the moon, and we will still have wars on Earth, because the roots of war lie in human minds and hearts, not only in the weapons. I had to sit with this in the last couple of months, because I kept thinking, I just wished there were not so many tanks and artillery and weapons somehow available in Europe to be able to be sent to one very small patch of Europe to destroy all the people and the buildings and the earth in that corner of Europe. And I had to sit with Thay's insight that even without all of these weapons, there would still be war, because the roots of war is in our hearts and our minds. And I went a bit further, and I realized that when I was aware, and in the monastery we practice to read the news from time to time so we are aware of what is happening. And like many of you, I had reactions to the news. And I saw all of my human nature manifest in my reactions to the news. I felt angry, like many of you. There were moments when I felt hatred. I am human, we are all human. And many of us will have experienced some very strong feelings in the last 2 months. And it is very hard to generate an energy of non-violence when war is so close and so tragic, so brutal. The roots of war lie in our hearts and minds. So my practice in the last few weeks has been to try to take care of the anger and the hatred that has also come up in my own heart. We may think we are powerless to do anything about that war, but we can do something about this war. So I would like to invite Sister Shangnim to invite a sound of the bell. And I invite us to breathe deeply in and out with this sound of the bell. And I'd like you to take one hand, and you can gently place it on your heart. And I would like to invite us all to breathe with compassion for the seeds of frustration, of resistance, maybe even of a little bit of anger or hatred that may have come up for us in relation to the war. And as we breathe in, we become aware of that feeling that may have been there. And as we breathe out, we say, my dear little anger, my dear little hatred, I am here for you. I know you are there. It is okay to be there. And I would like to embrace you with my mindfulness and compassion. Breathing in, aware of the feeling. Breathing out, embracing with mindfulness and compassion. Breathing in, I smile to myself. Breathing out, I'm aware that I also have the energy of peace in myself. Thank you for this little moment of breathing together. If we would like there to be more peace in the world, we, each of us, in our own way, need to find ways to be able to generate small moments of peace. To be able to take a few minutes to sit in peace and to awaken that energy of peace that is there in each one of us. To find ways to calm and accompany our feelings that are not very peaceful. To be able to find ways to walk in peace, to get on with our lives, and in moments when we are walking, whether it's through a park or through the city or along the canals or water, to be able to learn how to walk in peace. And this afternoon we will have a chance to do that together. So peace is a practice, it's an energy. It's not something to hope for outside. It's not only located in that part of Europe. Peace is something that each one of us can generate every day, and we can ask ourselves, have I been able to generate peace today? Have I had my moment of peace today? How is my level of peace? And to cultivate a daily mindfulness practice is a response to war. And we are taking care of the seeds of future wars in the way that we are living now. And we are taking care of generating an energy of peace also on behalf of those in Ukraine and many countries around the world who cannot touch peace, who don't have this freedom right now. We do it for them. This is what our teacher used to say. It is up to us to generate this energy of peace for them. And we can imagine that we are sending this energy to people our age, maybe with similar interests or similar jobs, to our those with the same affinity in us as us in the Ukraine. What they want more than anything is to be able to sit quietly with friends for an afternoon and breathe without the risk of being attacked. And now we can do that, and we can do it with them and for them. I used to be a journalist, and I used to work in a newsroom. I was a young peace activist during the Iraq War, the second Iraq War. So I started working in the newsroom because they needed to hire more people because of the war. And yet I was a peace activist. It was not a very healthy environment. And I already had a mindfulness practice, so I was increasingly aware that it wasn't a very healthy environment. And I also had this question, how can I possibly be at peace while you have all the screens with images of war and all my colleagues shouting and cursing around me? And I developed a very deep practice of walking to the water cooler. So I don't know in Dutch offices if you have the water bottle and it's in a central place, and you have to get up from your desk when you're not working from home, or yeah, before the working from home happened. You get up from your desk and walk to the water cooler. And I took it as my walk of freedom. It was about 12 steps around the corner. And I declared myself free from the news wires that were running down the screen on my desk. And I arrived in every step to come to the water cooler. And I put my glass in. And I created a moment of peace around drinking water. My colleagues are still shouting. The screens still have screens of war. But I am there with my glass of water. In the monastery and in the Zen tradition, we train ourselves to look deeply into even the smallest thing, like a glass of water. And we use poetry to guide the mind, to concentrate the mind. And when we contemplate a glass of water, we say silently, water comes from high mountain sources. Water runs deep in the earth. Miraculously, water comes to us and sustains all life. My gratitude is filled to the brim. So I would be standing there with my cup of water, saying this poem silently, and I would challenge myself, where am I seeing my water? Is it a waterfall? Is it a glacier? Is it mountain snow? Is it a gentle river? Is it a spring in a forest? And we know that every drop of water on earth has had an incredible journey. And here it is, clear, coming to nourish us. We use what we call the insight of mindfulness, the insight of interbeing, to see reality more deeply and to create a moment of calm in the middle of the chaos. And then we drink the water. And we are drinking mountain springs. We are drinking forest streams. We have the right to create moments of peace in our day. And I'm sure many of you drink a lot of water in the day. And it is very possible with mindful breathing, with deep looking, to transform any moment of drinking water into a portal like a doorway to peace, to freedom, and to awakening. We have that right as a human being. We don't want to be swept away by our work. We don't want to be swept away by the collective energy. We assert our right to live deeply, to live freely, and to create a moment of peace, especially when we need it most. Tai, our teacher, used to say that we have to guard our moments of peace, to defend them, to organize our life so that we have more moments of peace in our day. Peace is a practice. It is not a hope for later on. we can speak about small moments of peace, and we can speak about a bigger energy of peace that each one of us wants to develop, like a kind of an energy shield of entering and engaging the world with non-violence, with compassion, with kindness. Sometimes we can have a perception that to be at peace in today's world would mean we must be indifferent. Maybe we're passive. But the kind of peace that our teacher trained us in, the kind of true peace that comes with mindfulness practice, is a very active peace. We are at peace in response to. It is a direct answer to the violence, to the discrimination, to the injustice, to the inequality. We choose to offer an energy of compassion and non-violence. So the energy of peace we are talking about here is, it is active, it is alert, it is not indifferent. When our teacher was teaching at Stanford University in 2013, we had a dialogue with the Center for Compassion and research into compassion at the University of Stanford. And they were very keen to understand how Thai generated compassion. Where does it come from? And how do you not have compassion fatigue? How do you not have compassion fatigue? And Thai started to describe what he called the mechanics of compassion in mindfulness practice, which is that it is our awareness of suffering in ourselves and our own hearts and in our loved ones and in the world. That awareness of suffering gives rise naturally to compassion. So there's a close relationship between awareness of suffering and compassion. This is why, as a meditation practitioner, it's very important not to close our eyes to suffering. We are not trying to shut out suffering. We need a kind of dose of suffering to be able to generate the compassion that we need. At the same time, we also need to be able to know our limits so that we are not overwhelmed. And this is why, for example, how we consume in terms of watching news or consuming difficult conversations, like they are also a kind of input coming in. We need a kind of diet, a healthy diet of how much exposure to suffering to be sure that we are generating compassion in response and not being overwhelmed. There's a kind of art to handling suffering in ourselves and in the world. And this is where, as a practitioner, it becomes really important. Mindfulness intervenes to be able to let us know, this is too much. I cannot watch this anymore. I cannot read this anymore. I cannot have this conversation. I need to take care of what I have heard, what I have seen. And that is when we practice walking meditation. That is when we may practice even chanting. That is when we may practice deep relaxation to calm the feelings in our body. It's a kind of skill. In Amsterdam, there seem to be a lot of gyms, and some people even work out outdoors. All this kind of energy that we might bring to our body, we also need to bring this kind of dynamism to our feelings. Sometimes you need to do, different kinds of workout, and it's the same. We need to respond to what we have taken in to ensure that we are metabolizing, like that process to transform the energy of suffering into the energy of compassion. When we know how to do this, when we can handle our feelings, we are able to not use our consuming to cover up our pain. So there's an interesting problem that is happening in our society right now, which is that many of us consume to cover up our feelings. What is going on in the world is so overwhelming. It seems that we can't switch off the screen. We can't unplug. We keep going because we're afraid that when we switch off, we're afraid of the wave of feelings that we will suddenly be aware of inside. So many of us, it's very natural to have a tendency to cover up the feelings and to not tend to the feelings. But if we're so busy consuming, whether it is streaming channels online or shopping or doing everything we need to have the money in order to pay for everything that we need to consume, we don't have the time and energy available to take care of our hearts, and we don't have time and energy to take action, to really respond to the situation. We're too busy. We're too busy to take care. We're too busy to offer our time and energy to help. So there's something very interesting with consuming, which is that when we can learn to sit with an uncomfortable feeling and breathe with it and calm it, when we can learn to practice relaxing the body or practice walking meditation when we're angry, for example, when we can do these things, we are addressing the problem at the root. We're transforming and embracing and calming that suffering. Then we don't need to consume so much. And then we have more time to do the things that are most important to do. Our life is very short. And we want to be able to use every day, every week, to realize what is most important to us and not be lost in the cycle of consuming. We can enjoy a sound of the bell. As some of you may know, our teacher was good friends with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and they had a lot of deep conversations together about how to transform society from one of discrimination to one of real inclusiveness, how to really practice true nonviolence. And they spoke about building the beloved community. And in the last few years, I got a bit curious about this, and I did a lot of reading. I really wanted to understand what Dr. King meant when he spoke about the beloved community, because I realized that's not a Buddhist community or a meditating community. Did he mean a Christian community? And I wanted to find out. When I looked into this, I realized that when Dr. King spoke about the importance of building a beloved community. He was saying that in times of the greatest division and strife, tension in society, we need to use our spiritual energy, our spiritual strength, to see that even our enemies can become our friends. So Dr. King's idea of a beloved community included his enemies. It was a kind of global vision for how humankind can embrace diversity and difference, and we can visualize our enemies becoming our friends. This has been a real koan for me in the last few months. There are some people on this planet that it is very difficult to visualize becoming our friends. This is an object of our deep looking and meditation. If we would like to address the polarization in our society, even the polarization in our families and our friendship groups, even at work perhaps, we need to practice this kind of visualization. The spiritual path is to see that even those who we now think are our enemies, our deepest wish for us and for them is that we can become friends. I think one of our deepest offerings from our tradition that we can contribute to polarization is the practice of deep listening. This is also something that is not taught at school. We are not taught how to listen, and how to listen to someone whose views and values are different from ours. And I think this is an area where all of us have agency. We can act. All of us, every single person in this room, it is possible for us to learn to listen more deeply, more fully. To listen to, we can imagine someone now imagine someone in our life whom it is difficult to listen to. Someone we want to give up on. Someone we think if only they were not there, things would be easier. Each one of us can be a bridge builder to find a way with our energy of mindfulness to be able to listen to those who are hard to listen to. And this is not, we don't want to, in a way, change the other person. We don't want to debate with them. We don't want to tell them all the ways that they are wrong. We have a long list. In deep listening, the practice is different. It is to offer our human presence, human to human, our compassion, and our listening as a kind of offering, unconditional offering. I will hear you out. I am curious to understand what is your deepest concern. What is your deepest fear? Please help me understand. Please let me know, what are you most worried about? If they are our friend, our family member, or a colleague, we care about them. We don't want them to feel this anxiety, this anger, this fear or bitterness. And even without talking about the topic or right or wrong, we can offer a listening that can embrace their deepest concerns. I think it would be very wonderful if our community here in the Netherlands can offer a training program in how to practice deep listening in all sorts of different settings. One of our teacher's students is a climate leader, a leader in the field of climate activism, and she was the architect of the Paris Climate Agreement in 2015. And she's a good friend of our community and spends long stays with us in Plum Village to practice with our community. And she said that one of the greatest skills that she brought to the Paris Climate Agreement was the practice of deep, compassionate listening. She says there were many hard skills, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, but to be able to bring so many nations and so many, I think they call them non-state actors, so many influential people were able to come together to make the Paris Agreement because they were able to listen to each other at the human level, their deepest concerns. And that includes people from the oil companies, it includes environmental researchers, heads of nations, were able to come together, and in the most difficult moments when it looked like the talks would fail, she guided them in the practice of deep listening to each other to find the common ground. And this is something we can all do in our daily lives. We can learn and develop this art, and we can share it with one another. We can listen to a sound of the bell. I've spoken about how our compassion increases with our awareness of the suffering, and many of us are aware of the suffering of our planet in this moment. And when our teacher was guiding, I guess we could say environmental activists in the 1980s, Tai said, what we need most now is to listen to the sound of the earth crying in our heart, to open our heart to hear the sound of the earth crying. And there are many wonderful earth activists, including Joanna Macy, who has done some very powerful work, who have really taken this to heart and developed a real program for awakening based on this listening to the earth. What I found interesting was that as Tai was preparing to offer his inputs to the Paris Climate Agreement, and he came back to his earth teachings and he was developing his insights, and he went one step further. He said, not only do we need to listen to the sound of the earth crying, we need to be able to fall in love with the earth. Tai, our teacher, is a master of human nature. Perhaps if we listen too much to the sound of the earth crying. We will be overwhelmed. But if we can fall in love with the earth, fall in love with a tree or a river or a mountain or an orangutan, if we can fall in love with elephants or a simple flower in our garden, a simple bee or butterfly, that energy of love is a new energy that we all need to introduce into this situation. The situation does not need more despair. We need the kind of love that is a source of energy. And if anybody in this room has ever fallen in love, suddenly, cha-ching, we have a lot of energy to get out of the house, to go out and about. It's a very creative, inspiring energy. And Tai said that we need to ask ourselves, have we fallen in love with the earth yet? Am I in love with the earth? Have I allowed myself to fall in love with my favorite tree? Have we allowed our heart to soften? And maybe this softening is also a key to unlock an energy of love and awakening that will be strong enough for us to change our way of living. Tai said that if as a society and as individuals we haven't yet changed our way of living, it's because the awakening isn't strong enough. And that change wants to be fueled by love, not fueled by kind of anger or panic, but love, which is an energy that kind of can refuel itself and refuel itself. An energy that can sustain our action so that we don't burn out. And today we have a few different opportunities to be able to fall in love with the earth, and one of them is the practice of tangerine meditation. A tangerine is a miraculous gift from a tree, from Mother Earth. And now let us see how much we can be in love with a tangerine. This is a challenge.
Je kan je hand even opsteken als je geen mandarijn hebt. Er zijn er al een aantal met een mandarijnenschil in hun handen. Dus laat even de handen even zien, dan komen er nog wat mandarijnen langs. En ik nodig ons allemaal uit. Volgens mij is het geluid een beetje zacht. Of is het goed? Ben ik goed te horen achter? Ja? Dus ik nodig ons uit om de mandarijn even voor ons te houden. En kunnen we de kleuren van de mandarijn goed zien? Hebben we al iets ontdekt in deze mandarijn? Kleine nieuwsgierigheid, van ik kan de weerspiegeling van de ramen in de mandarijn zien. En hoe de kleur van oranje zo naar rood gaat. En misschien kan je de mandarijn voelen, hoe die zo een beetje wasachtig Hoe voelt dat schilletje in jouw hand? En tegelijkertijd, als je zo daar bewust van wordt, kan je misschien ook zien wat dat met jou doet. Om zo even in aandacht te zijn met een levend wezen hier voor jou. Waar komt dit vandaan? Misschien kun je ernaar ruiken. Als je er even aan krabt, dan kan die misschien nog wat meer ruiken. En kan je even bij dat ruiken blijven. Voor een ademhaling. Voor de duur van een ademhaling. Voel je wat dit met je doet? Het voelt voor mij opeens veel kalmer in de zaal. Is dat jullie opgevallen? Hoe voelt dat voor jou? Om even in contact te zijn. Even te rusten in de sensaties. En nu mogen we hem openmaken. En kijk maar, als je hem zo openmaakt, hoe dat zo voelt in je handen. En kijk maar of je dat heel rustig kan doen. En even dat gehaast is, zo van, oh ja, dat weet ik weet hoe ik een mandarijn moet eten. Om dat even los te laten. Het is de eerste keer in jouw leven dat je deze mandarijn in je handen hebt. Hallo, mandarijn. Kijk maar of je zo'n klein openingetje kan maken. En goed ruiken of er in één keer de geuren nog meer beschikbaar komen. Deze mandarijn, die komt voort uit vele voorouders van mandarijnbomen. Op een gegeven moment was er een boom die bedacht, als ik nou mijn zaden wil verspreiden, dan ga ik vruchten maken. Zoiets. Ik weet niet of die zo dacht, maar uiteindelijk maakte die vruchten zodat die gegeten konden worden door dieren. En dat de zaden vooruitkomen. En onze voorouders hebben die mandarijnen gevonden. Gecultiveerd. Nog sappiger en groter gemaakt. En deze voortzetting daarvan heb jij nu in je handen. Dus kijk maar of je hem helemaal kan schillen. Hoor je zachtjes het geschil om je heen? De atomen van deze mandarijn, die waren ooit deel van sterren. En op dit moment zijn die samengekomen om een ontmoeting met jou te hebben. En het is zo makkelijk om ons eten als een ding te zien, als een functie. Maar nu kun je zien, hoe kan ik deze mandarijn ontmoeten? In dit moment. En ik wil je nu graag uitnodigen om 1 partje te pakken. En in je mond te stoppen en nog niet te kauwen. Kan je voelen hoe dat voelt op je tong? Hoe er al meer speeksel komt. En hoe de tong als vanzelf gaat bewegen. Misschien knapt die een klein beetje open. En kijk of je zo die smaak, daar zo bij aanwezig te zijn, dat je echt die smaak kan voelen, hoe die ontwikkelt. En kijk maar of je één kleine kou kan maken. En dat er een explosie van smaak in de mond komt. En kauw maar rustig verder. Voel goed wat er met die tong gebeurt. En met de kaken. Misschien kan je experimenteren als je normaal gesproken aan de linkerkant veel eet van je kaak. Hoe is het daar aan de rechterkant? Of zelfs daar aan de voorkant? Met je snijtanden. Wat doet dit met je om zo rustig in stilte te eten? Als je klaar bent, kun je een volgende partje in je mond steken. En zo één voor één kan je de partjes opeten. Zonder de zon was deze mandarijn er niet geweest. Deze mandarijn, die had het zonlicht nodig. Dat zonlicht dat zoveel jaren nodig had in de zon om uiteindelijk als foton naar buiten te komen. En zo in 7 minuten kwam die op de aarde terecht en ontmoette de boom. Om daar in glucose te worden omgezet, dat dan weer gebruikt werd om dit mandarijntje te doen groeien. En daar was de regen voor nodig en de wolken. Alle tuinmannen, om er goed voor te zorgen dat er voldoende voedingsstoffen in de grond waren. En toen de mandarijn rijp genoeg was, moest die geplukt worden, naar de supermarkt gebracht worden, getransporteerd. Al die elementen die komen samen om dit mandarijntje nu te vormen. En nu wordt dit mandarijntje deel van jou. Misschien gaat het een stukje haar worden. Of een huidcelletje. Wanneer wordt dit mandarijntje jou? Wanneer stopt het met mandarijntje zijn? En wanneer wordt het jou? Het is niet zo duidelijk. En zo gaat alles door. Zo wordt alles weer deel van iets anders. De hele kosmos is bij elkaar gekomen om op dit moment dit mandarijntje hier te laten zijn. En je zou kunnen zeggen dat het een ambassadeur is van de kosmos. Misschien kan je het wonder daarvan voelen. En als je het wonder kan voelen in een mandarijntje, misschien kan je dan ook het wonder voelen in jezelf. En misschien op het moment dat jij echt aanwezig bent, dat dan dat mandarijntje ook echt aanwezig kan zijn. Nou, is er iemand hier in de zaal die wat wil delen over deze ervaring? Dat hij iets nieuws ontdekt heeft. Hoe was dit voor jou om zo een mandarijntje te eten met elkaar? kan even je hand opsteken en dan komt er een microfoon naar je toe. Hier aan de voorkant is iemand en daar achterin is iemand.
Hello. The experience for me while having this tangerine made me really happy. Like a child. I could feel myself back in my body. And I could feel the tangerine as a small baby. And I felt so much love. I'm not a mother, but I felt a love of a mother. And the expression when it was said that this is going to be a part of me now, and probably it will become my hair. It means so much awe. As if there is no distinction between me and the Mandarin. Thank you.
Er is hier iemand aan de voorkant met de rode trui aan.
I realized that when I was not aware of this, what we did, that tangerine was already gone for an hour. So it's still there, and I like that very much. And I have still a half of a tangerine. And I can what I can do is with every part of the tangerine I can do it in the same way as I did with the other parts. So that's beautiful. Okay, thank you.
Oké, nog eentje, de laatste. Wie wil wat delen?
Hi. I'd like to say that after a year of not smelling anything because of Corona, so my sense of smell came back the past few months. So this was a very happy experience for me. Thank you.